evening, everyone, and welcome to Take Two Radio. I'm Pam, your host, and tonight as my co-host and my friend, I have Dawn. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, Pam. How are you?
Living, breathing, walking, talking. How about you?
I didn't know this was a rhyming show. I'm
you
great.
Didn't.
I'm doing great.
Then you called in on the wrong day.
I guess so. Well, what is this? Let's see. I can't even be clever. It's Wednesday. It's Wacky Wednesday, maybe.
Caught you off guard, didn't I?
Yes, you did. I mean, I'm usually not one to get caught off guard when it comes to words, but you did. You succeeded. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we'll see how our guest does tonight with that kind of thing. Tonight we welcome actor Jay-Harrington, and some of you may know him from Better Off Ted as Ted Crisp, or most recently from Hot in Cleveland as Alec. And then again, you may know him from American Reunion. So welcome, Jay.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're very excited to have you.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. We twisted his arm, and we're sending him a paycheck in the mail. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
So how are things going with you? Anything new?
Things are good. I just finished a couple weeks ago Hot in Cleveland for now, and those episodes will be airing. We start up again in June. So the relationship with Valerie Bertinelli is still going, and
yay!
I don't want to give anything away. So yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I like you as her boyfriend, and it's about time she gets one.
Well, thank you. And it's exciting. I just found out today that the show got picked up for another season.
Yes, I saw that on
excellent.
Twitter, and I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
We love that show. Well, first question I need to ask you about is how did it feel to be nominated the Sexiest Man of the Year against Cameron Matheson on Hot in Cleveland?
Yeah. Cleveland's most eligible bachelor.
Yeah.
Or as Cameron called it, Cleve's most eligible batch.
Oh,
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I'm real familiar with Cameron because I watched him on All My Children for how many years, and then, of course, on a lot of different movies and things that he's done since then. So I was quite pleased to see that you and he were on there together. Yeah,
I was familiar with him as well, and didn't know what to expect. He's such a great guy, and then he was so funny too. I'd never seen him do anything comedic, so it's always fun to see someone step out of there from what you know them as and to come on and be as fun as he was.
Right. Now, did you watch him on All My Children? Come on, tell me you're a soap fan.
No, I did not. but he's certainly so high. He was high profile enough for me to know who he was.
Right.
My guilty pleasure back in years ago watching, as far as soaps go, it was Days of Our Lives.
Oh, okay. I watched that one too. I basically watched them all, and Dawn watches some of them as well.
Yes,
now,
indeed.
Have you heard about that All My Children and One Life to Live, even though you didn't watch it, they were canceled and are going to the web, and they're going to be web soaps?
I did hear that. And, I think that's sort of the new era of television, if that's what you still call it. There's web content, shows going there, and Netflix, and
right.
They had a Kickstarter campaign for Veronica Mars to make money.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that was phenomenal. They did it in 7 hours or something to get that going.
Yeah, in under 2 days, they had more money than they possibly needed to do that.
Yeah. Well, it gives you hope that even if the network says they don't have the money to do it, that if the fans believe in it as much as they do, and in the actors, and they want to see it back, that they're willing to do just about anything to get you guys back.
Yeah, the only thing that I can remember that had happened to in on television was Family Guy. I know that show had been canceled, and then the sort of public outcry, it came back, and it's been one of its most successful shows in terms of animated content, certainly, next to Simpsons. But yeah, you see that happen. You see Arrested Development go and do Netflix episodes, and then of course people on Twitter were throwing out the Better Off Ted possibilities, which would be great.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. I hope something like that happens. I didn't get to see all the episodes. I don't know what happened when that was on, what I was doing. Maybe I was still working at that time.
Oh, I don't think it was your fault. I think
no.
I think it was. I think a lot of people.
So I'm not the one that got it canceled. Okay, well that's good to know.
No. In fact, I have more people that approach me now that have seen it on Netflix and Hulu recently than ever saw it when it was on.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think it has to do it with accessibility and that it's so open to you can watch it at any time.
Of course, and also the way that we were introduced we didn't come out until March of a few years ago. It was a mid-season show, and then it didn't really get a ton of traction at first, and then when we came back to finish a second season, it was again put on in mid-season, and we followed a show that not a lot of people were watching either, so it didn't really help. So it's certainly lived on in the it's had a much stronger life in its death than it did while it was going.
Sometimes that does happen. I notice that lately networks don't really give a show a big chance to catch hold either, because they either cancel them after a couple episodes or they move them around so much you never know when to watch them.
I know.
So,
it's really maddening. It's maddening as a viewer. Just
right.
Is now, of course, you can have a program to record, but even still, there are shows that I just lose interest in because it seems that the powers that be have lost interest in them too. So why should I really work hard to keep up if it doesn't seem that their own people are doing that, which is unfortunate.
Right, and that's kind of what recently I know that I've seen on Twitter and other social networks where a new show will come out and a lot of people will voice their opinion as far as, well, should I even bother watching this? Should I start getting invested in the show and start liking it if they're going to pull it off the air? And that's something that they really need to, the powers that be, need to really look at before they start pulling the shows off the air. I watched one. I saw 2 episodes, and they pulled it off. I was like, what? How can you know after 2 episodes?
It hardly seems worth it to make the show in the first place, does it?
Right. Exactly. And I feel for all the actors and the camera crew and everybody behind the scenes. You put all this hard work in, and then, boom, it's gone.
Yeah. Without really a fair shot. You go back to the 80s, and I always go back to the Cheers was its first season. It was last on of all of the shows. In its first season, it was last, and they stuck with it. And it became one of. And the Cosby Show helped. It came on after that, but other shows too. Friends didn't come out and make a huge splash. It wasn't until they repeated the season in the summertime, and then people came in knowing it. There are tricks and there are shows that do stick, but unfortunately they're looking for the big hit right away, and that doesn't always happen.
That's so true. Well, how wonderful was it to work on such a funny show with those amazing actresses on Hot in Cleveland?
That was really great. I've done a bunch of different multi-camera shows, and whether it be a pilot or guest star, and this one was I was really nervous going in because they're all, so I watched them all, and so much, so it wasn't, I was coming into a very established situation, but they couldn't have been nicer, and it was fun to be the first sort of, I think I'm so far the longest running guest star that they've had, so it was fun to kind of keep every week coming back and have, whether it was craft service or someone on the camera department going, hey, you're here again. It was sort of a surprise to everybody. Because I guess in the past, the girls have all sort of had their guys they date for an episode or 2.
Right.
So, it was really great fun to be able to be part of that group because they are so, it's not only just a nice group of people, but they're so good. And it's it was part of, I've watched them all in so many different things, and just to be a part of that was really an honor.
Definitely. And like I said, we're very happy to know that you'll be back. I'm Better Off Ted. You played a boss with a conscience and with a heart, and that's my view, my opinion. What was your favorite and most outlandish storyline on that show?
I think actually to sort of contradict what you just said, it was the one episode where I tried to I went against he because he had the crush on Linda, and he wanted to give her an opportunity to help. There was an episode called Jabberwocky, and she wanted, it was early on, and she wanted to help green the building because she'd seen a commercial that the company had run about how all of their buildings are going green. When in fact it turns out that they just made the commercial, they weren't really making the green. But I didn't want to tell her that because she was had this moral and ethical stance, and I respected that. So what Ted does is he kind of takes some money from one department and puts it into another, and it ends up, of course, unraveling, and lie after lie after lie turns into a big presentation in which he's given to all of these corporate mongers that he's winging it. He and Veronica were winging it, and that was one of my favorites.
Oh, I could see why. That was good.
Well, Jay, I would like to know what is your favorite kind of role to play?
It really depends. I've been able to. I had a lot of fun doing American Reunion because I don't generally get cast as sort of a jerk, and it was fun to play that. Playing opposite Chris Klein, who was the nice guy, and I got to be the jerk for once. So I had a lot of fun doing that. You kind of just tap into any grumpy mood that you're in or have had. You could just sort of parlay that into the role. So that was certainly fun. And then every once in a while I get to, if it's a guest star role in something, I get to be a bad guy. That's always fun.
Well, now, have you ever done any theater?
Yeah, I grew up doing theater, and I haven't done theater in a bit, to be honest. It's been a while, but that was something I did starting as a little kid, and that's what made me get interested in doing this way back when.
Do you ever find that you miss the theater from time to time?
Yeah, certainly, especially when doing a show like Hot in Cleveland, where you have the rehearsal process that you don't often have. Better Off Ted, you're shooting it as soon as you get to work, you get in and you start working. You're not sitting around and really working stuff out. Whereas for a multi-camera sitcom, you get a week to really work out some stuff. So that is so much similar to the theater experience. So when you do a show like that, it does remind you how much fun you can have doing a play and working on a character and letting that experience really evolve over a longer period of time.
So many actors who have had that theater experience, they talk about how it's really something that they do miss from time to time because, the theater is such a much more intimate setting in a way versus, television or film even. And but it is neat to have that experience, I think. Do you believe that it helps kind of mold and shape you and stretch you as an actor?
It sure does, because I have television specifically moves so very fast that those that don't have training, I feel they can get